So Bash in Berlin was yesterday, and apparently, at the press conference, Triple H did not show up. Um, he let everybody handle this themselves. He gave them the booking, and they followed through with the booking. It's not the first time the person in charge wasn't there. There have been very few, but there have been times where Vince McMahon was not there, and everything goes smoothly. You leave, the second in command to do it. Apparently, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon's daughter, Aurora Rose, is starting college today. So they wanted to make sure she got settled into college okay. Um, but then, Dave Meltzer. We got to talk about Uncle Dave and the rubbish he spat out today. Says that Cody Rhodes was the heir and he acted like he was in charge. No, Cody probably wasn't 100% in charge. Golly. Come on. Cody Rhodes is not the heir apparent to the WWE throne. Now, if I had to pick somebody who would be and who would fill in for Triple H when Triple H is gone, I don't know if Cody would be my. I mean, out of everybody that's there right now, yeah, Cody would be my first choice. But um, to sit there and say, "Oh, Cody's the heir," oh no, dude, you're talking out of your ass. That's the stupid sensationalism that journalists put on sports and entertainment nowadays by spouting stupid stuff like that. Let's just say that hey, the whole team came together and they let Cody Rhodes, go in there and take some questions. And speaking of questions, he goes on about the attendance. Meltzer does. I'm not going to play that clip for you. Meltzer talking about, well, it's the highest arena attendance because of the high ticket prices and blah 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 blah. Dude, do you know? Like, yes, they are charging high ticket prices for England for overseas shows. Why? Because, like I said in previous videos, you Brits, you Scots, you Irish, you French, you German, you want them there, you're gonna have to pay for it. It doesn't. You can't just. It's not cheap to fly that many production people, that many wrestlers. You got to fly rings over. You got to do sets. It's a lot of stuff, a lot of production to fly overseas on cargo planes. You can't just put that on a damn Delta flight and put it in the belly of the plane. And no, you got to do cargo plane. You got to set this stuff up well in advance. So yes, they're going to charge more money than they would in the U.S. And also, are you factoring in the fact that the dollar is worth more than the euro? I think like 1 euro, or they use euros in Germany because they're part of the EU. I think the last time I checked, which has been years ago, $1 is like 1.5 euros. So when you get these numbers, are you factoring in, are they US dollar numbers? Are they European euro numbers? Don't know. Don't know, couldn't tell you. Anyway, what I am going to talk about is the press conference afterwards. I put my review up of the show itself on the website, or on the YouTube page here, YouTube channel, if you will. And I thought it was a pretty okay show overall. It's certainly not the best pay per view of the year so far. That to me is still WrestleMania, both nights. But it's out of all the pay per views that they've done in Europe. They did one in France, Scotland, and now Germany. This was my least favorite of the three. Um, but anyway, I implore you to go listen to my quick review that I did. Um, but afterwards, they did their little press conference, or their post show, as they like to call it, and we can't, we can't go a single day without hearing about this. especially since the Netflix documentary was announced this week. Which I'll review that for the channel here. I'll go episode by episode and give my review for that. But this damn Vince McMahon Janelle Grant lawsuit, you know, and Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics and WokeWrestling.com. It's not post wrestling, it's woke wrestling. John Pollock and Brandon Thurston. They're so quick to jump on the Twitter. Somebody asked about it. Somebody asked about it. Can you believe it? Oh my God, somebody actually asked about it. Shut up. Shut up. Let's let me let you listen to what Meltzer had to say about this. And we'll come back to it here. Here's Dave Meltzer. Yes, it's about a 3.5 minute long segment, maybe a little bit more. But here's Meltzer talking about Cody Rhodes giving his answer to people asking him about the Janelle Grant Vince McMahon dealing.
He was asked about the Janelle Grant lawsuit. I mean, I was not, should have been, they should have been asked about that at every pay-per-view, but he was asked what the locker room thinks. So I think that he basically gave an answer, just like, we're so busy going from show to show that we just don't have time to think about this, which is, I'm sure every single person in that roster has had time to think about this. And, but it again, like when the question was like, what does the locker room think? And you really can't give an answer because the reality is that everyone, it's not like this unified locker room. It's like, what does the locker room think about, the presidential race? Well, some people think this and some people think that, you know what I mean? And with this one, I'm sure that there's people, based on how loyal you are, does the locker room believe Janelle Grant? And it's like, I'm sure that there's people who are loyal to Vince who are going to give him the benefit of the doubt in every situation. But, it's like, why is nobody commenting on it? The reason no one's commenting on it is because they're not allowed to comment on it, essentially. I mean, it'd be career suicide to basically, they're not allowed. It's an ongoing legal issue and they can't comment on it. And he did the best that he could. But I mean, as far as like, people that I've talked to there or that I've heard from there, put it this way. It's not that they're too busy and it's not that they don't know. Every single person has an opinion. Of the ones that I have been in contact with, most are, completely disgusted, just so you know. They're not, there are people who are not. And there are people who, again, especially the ones who have probably had more time in the business and just look, like a lot of the women were completely disgusted by it. And of course they would be, right? And I'm not, and they should be, and everyone should be for that matter. But I mean, as far as the ones who have been around for decades, to them, it's like, what do you expect? It's Vince McMahon, especially if you've been around Vince McMahon. What do you expect? It's Vince McMahon. That's kind of, it's like, I can't say that they were repulsed or disgusted, but it's not like they freaked out or anything like that either over it. There absolutely were people who did, like when they read that and they were just completely, disgusted. Some were torn up, in a sense of, Vince has helped me, whatever. And I'm sure there's people who are, very loyal to Vince still. But I would think that, I would hope that that's the minority. But, they exist too. So, but there's no unified, what does the locker room think, that you can't even answer that question. But, somebody asked it. Cody basically very smoothly got out of it.
First of all, Dave, no. They should not be asking about this at every single pay-per-view. They should not be asking about this at all. We should be getting past this by now. The federal government is getting involved. Vince McMahon is going to get his day in court. Janelle Grant will get her day in court. And yeah, maybe they're going to rake McMahon over the coals for this. But can we just, and people are going to go, well, WWE's named in the lawsuit too. The only reason why WWE is named in this lawsuit is because this woman knows that they're going to pay her a bunch of money to go away. Plain and simple. Now, should we be talking about this every day? No. This is getting old. It's getting boring. I only feel but so bad for this woman. Does anybody deserve to be crapped on and abused like that? No. Should she have gone to the cops a long time ago? Well, she kind of couldn't because of the NDA. Should she have ever signed on the dotted line? No. Again, there are other videos on this channel where I take this position, and I'm going to take it again. This woman is not 100% innocent. She's not 100% a victim. This woman signed on the dotted line to get a bunch of money. And the second the money stopped coming in, she signed an NDA. Or she went to the press. She leaked out her story, I should say. I'm sorry. The second the money stopped coming in, she leaked the story to the Wall Street Journal via probably one of her friends. If Vince McMahon would have kept paying her, if Vince McMahon would have kept, I'll say this again, kept paying her and kept the hush money coming, we would not be in this position. We would be still trying to have to put up a Vince McMahon's booking. Let that sink in for a second. I'll say it again. If this woman had not, or if McMahon had kept paying her, if he was to keep paying her, we would not be here. She only wants money. And I'm not victim shaming. Yes, what happened to this woman was it went a bit too far. Okay, that's the only thing I know how to say about this. It went a bit too far. And the fact that we are still a year later bringing this up every chance we get, Brandon Thurston, John Pollock, every chance we get, they're bringing it up for clickbait reasons. They're bringing it up for views. And I will keep calling them out on this. Just let it go. Find something else to spend your time talking about, guys. Yes, the feds are involved now. They've told her, hey, can you not sue him until we've had our, because we're probably going to rake him over the coals a lot harder than you will. And who knows? Maybe the FBI will kick in with her and do it like a combined lawsuit type deal. I'm sure that could happen some way. But wrestling journalists need to stop. The only way, to me, the proper justice, McMahon loves being talked about. Now, granted, he's probably not even paying attention to what you're saying, but he likes the attention. Why not just let this play out in court? Why do we, as Meltzer said, we should be asking about this every pay-per-view? No, we shouldn't. It's disrespectful to, okay, I'll go ahead and say it. It's disrespectful to Janelle Grant, number one. It's disrespectful to the wrestlers and the company, number two. It is so disrespectful. It's like when they asked Jade Cargill about AEW, and she goes, man, I'm so sick and tired of answering questions about AEW. I'm grateful for everything they did for me. I wouldn't be there without them. But we need to focus on now. We need to focus on what I'm going to do in the future. Why can't we do that with WWE? Why do we got to focus on the past? Why do we got to keep opening up old wounds? Why do we got to keep reminding ourselves of the tyranny that this company faced under Vince McMahon for decades? Let the man burn and move over the rotting corpse. Walk over the burnt corpse and on into the sunset. Or sunrise, rather, wherever you want to say it. I mean, just let sleeping, I won't say let the sleeping dogs lie, but let the man have his day in court. Again, this is not defending anything the man did. He did some pretty sick and deplorable stuff. Again, why didn't she go put to the cops before? Why did you even sign this NDA? Because you wanted the money. And when the money stopped coming in, you leaked the story. If you had McMahon to believe, she leaked the story first and then the money stopped. Which that very well could have happened. But to sit there and keep asking wrestlers about this and to keep bringing it up month after month after month, every chance you get to talk to these guys, you got to ask them, how does the locker room feel? How do you feel? Who gives a crap how they feel? They still have jobs. They're still going to make money. They're still going to be made billionaires. You think they could give it, and they're better for it. It's a better environment. You think they give a crap what happens to Vince McMahon? The only person in that entire company that may really care about what happens to Vince is Bruce Pritchard. And I don't even know that Bruce Pritchard ain't just washed his hands of the man and moved on. Stephanie McMahon don't care. By proxy to that, Triple H don't care. This man cheated on her mother and paid the woman who he cheated with off to avoid a black eye. And it's been found that he used company funds to do it. You know, when McMahon left the first time, I feel like I keep repeating myself in every one of these videos, but it has to be said. McMahon leaves the first time, Stephanie jumps up. McMahon comes back, Stephanie leaves. You know, actually, the timeline was she left when this stuff first came out, or right before it came out. He left. She came back to run things along with Mr. Khan. And then, not Tony Khan. And then when McMahon weaseled his way back in by proxy, pretty much, she left again and hasn't been seen except for a couple times on TV since. I would hope that maybe she would come back one day to actually run the damn thing. Because Nick Khan, to me, you need a McMahon. As much as it may not sit well with people, you need a McMahon in charge of that company. But no, every chance we get, we got to bring this up to the wrestlers. We got to bring this up. You know, they're just in the ring having hard fought matches to entertain you. And you're going to ask them of all the things when they get back to that locker room and sit before you, kindly sit before you. They don't have to sit in front of you. They don't have to let you in the goddamn building if they don't want to. Let alone have a nice press conference backstage for you. They don't have to let you ask a question at all. Look at what Deion Sanders is doing to that writer down there in Colorado. Dude, if you can't be a little bit positive and ask me things that aren't detrimental, or ask this team things that aren't detrimental to our morale, you don't get to ask a question. Now, do I think that, you know, freedom of the press is a thing? Yes, but enough is enough. How many times can you be negative before they tell you, no, you're not getting in? Or no, we're just not going to do these anymore. I firmly believe in freedom of the press. But that freedom gets abused sometimes so much. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Should we just squash this? Why do we got to keep bringing it up? And if you agree with me, I implore you to write an email John Pollock, Brandon Thurston, Dave Meltzer, Brian Alvarez, and tell them that if you pay for these guys, stuff, I'm sick and tired of your paychecks and your website dollars being fueled by this scandal. Can't we talk about something else? Anyway, folks, we'll see you down the road.